Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Ninja Selling Podcast. As always, your hosts, Garrett and Matt. I'm Matt. He's Garrett. Are here. And fun topic today. We kind of let this one cool a little bit before we brought it here, but we're going to talk about society a little bit today and kind of how that impacts your business, a little bit about mindset. Before we dig into it, come check out our community, facebook.com/groups/the Ninja Selling Podcast, fastest growing community in the world. Of course, it's the best place to be. A lot of stuff. Garrett, we got to plan our next happy hour in there, actually. So if it's this podcast going live in July, we may have already had it, or maybe not. So look out for those happy hours where we get on and do a Q&A with a beer in our hand or bourbon.
We may have had it, but maybe not. But we might have.
But maybe not. We'll find out. This is why you got to go in the group because, we record these things in advance. So you could be missing real time action and access. So head over to the group. If you guys need to or want to learn more about ninja selling, if you haven't done an installation, highly, highly recommend going through this 4-day training. It's incredible value. One of the best experiences you could give for yourself, for your life, but also your business. Of course, head over to ninjaselling.com, click on the calendar to find an installation near you. Garrett.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
We've been bantering a little bit before getting into recording today, so it might be spicy.
It might be. I'm excited. This topic, you brought this one up, and we definitely decided to let it simmer for a little bit, just to kind of like with things going on in our world and other stuff happening. But I think it's important right now. And you brought up this kind of like reactionary world that we kind of are in right now. And there's many layers we can look at society and the world right now. And we're going to not go into all of those.
Yeah, we'll try to stay.
We're going to stay in our lane.
In the lanes that are most important to running a successful business. And I think this is timely because the week that we're recording this is the same week that the Fed raised the Fed funds rate by 0.75, one of the highest hikes in a long time. And people are freaking out, which may be justified, but there's a mindset to this, Garrett. When I see people living in what we're calling a reactionary society, like you're literally saying, I'm just going to live my life according to what happens out there. And I'm just going to react to headlines. I'm going to react to what other people say, probably just reacting to the emails that are in your inbox in the morning, aside from having a plan on how to run your business. But when it comes to life, like I understand that these things are real and these things impact us in a real way, right? Higher rates, higher inflation, appreciation, higher gas prices, all this stuff does impact us. But if you allow it to pull your mindset into the I can't side of things, you're starting to be reactionary and you're starting to kill your dreams too, because there's no reason why society and what happens out there has to detract and take you away from the path that you want to be on to achieve what you want to achieve. And we've seen it all the time, Garrett, right? I mean, you mention a lot because you were coaching agents back in 2008 and you saw agents thrive through a time when people were like, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. My business is over. I'll never be able to X, Y, Z. And these people are out there living their best lives.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch how people interpret what's going on around them. And what I'm watching right now that I think is fascinating is that all the stuff that's happening out there, who it really affects is homeowners. If you're a homeowner out there and you're planning on buying or selling in the near future, yeah, all this stuff is very much like, wow, we need to pay attention to all this stuff, all these things. As a real estate agent, if we just look on that level right now, if I was a licensed realtor right now, some of you may not know that I'm not a licensed realtor right now, but I'm not. Let that license go a while back because I coach full time. But it's interesting. If I was a realtor right now, there's only one thing I need to remember, or at least this is my thought. How bad and crazy does this all have to get out there before people will stop falling in love? Well, there's no correlation to that. Like, it's not like all of a sudden it gets weird enough out there and people are like, yeah, I'm not going to get married anymore. We're not doing that. This is too strange. I'm just going to stay alone because it feels safer by myself. That's not going to happen. People falling in love and having babies. I don't see that stopping anytime in the near future. I don't care how weird it gets out there. We could lose our entire hospital system and people are still going to get pregnant. I'm just telling you how it works. We have bad habits out there and it causes kids to show up into the world.
People had babies before hospitals existed, right?
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on for years.
There's a reason why we're actually still here as a species. I mean,
this has really been going on for many, many, many years.
We know how this works.
Divorces will still happen however crazy things get out there. Loss of jobs, new jobs. This doesn't stop with all these things happening around us. And as far as I'm concerned, as a real estate agent, this is like, take a big, deep breath, step back for a second, stop reacting in this like, the sky is falling, and really take a look at what causes your business to happen. These worries are not directed at you. You need to understand how your business works. You need to understand where that business comes from. You need to understand that these things are going to happen no matter what's going on out there. And what your real big concern needs to be is, how can I help all of my people work through the marketplace that's been presented to us right now? That is your number one concern. You should not be worried about, am I ever going to sell a home again? Am I going to have a paycheck? Am I going to be able to feed my family? Stop it. Stop it. You need to focus on your clients and you need to focus on, how am I going to help them be successful through this time? Because if you can do that, your business will not change.
Well, it will change in a positive direction.
In a positive way, but it's not going to be like all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, how are we going to make ends meet? It's going to be like we saw back in 2008 where people had the best years they ever had. I just got the phone with a lady that I actually coached back then. I've still coached her today. That's what, 2009 is when I started coaching her. And she just said 2009, 2010 were the best years I've ever had in real estate. That's not everybody's scenario, just so we're clear.
Well, this reactionary way that a lot of people choose to live from a business standpoint too, right? Relating it to how you might drive a car on a racetrack. Okay.
Oh, I'm in. What do you got?
Exactly. Right. Well, if you're going to go around the curve, are you going to look at like, oh, watch out for that tree over there. Watch out for those rocks over there. Watch out for that wall over there. What happens if you start pointing and looking at those things, Garrett?
Do you end up in the tree and the rock?
Right. But if you point, hey, no, I want to go around that turn over there, and you point over there and you look over there, what happens? You go around the turn, right? So in a reactionary society, you're saying to yourself, look at the trees, look at the rocks, look at the wall, look at that, look at the cliff, instead of looking where you want to go so that you actually drive that direction. Let everybody else go end up in the trees.
So you know what's even worse? There's even a more interesting factor when it comes to a racetrack, Matt. Okay, so I have watched this happen many, many, many times where you are on a track, you're traveling at speed, and all of a sudden the person in front of you messes up and they go directly straight off track. Like they miss the turn, they miss the braking points, whatever it is. And the car behind them will follow them right off the track. They didn't make the mistake. They weren't doing anything wrong, but they literally just tracked the car straight off the track. It's a common thing that happens on a race course.
They were reacting to that, whatever that car was doing. They weren't in control.
We just lock on the car in front of us. We just lock onto him and we just follow him. And it's the weirdest thing. And you'll watch it in business. You're watching in entire offices right now that lock on to a direction that the marketplace is going, and the whole office goes whoop right there with them, where you didn't need to follow everybody off the track. Like you didn't need to do that. There are ways that you can correct yourself, but it comes down to being educated. It comes down to paying attention to what the marketplace is doing right now. I've had so many people, Matt, that they're freaking out about the market and days on market, and my listings are, not selling, and then we start doing the math, and almost every marketplace, we find out that there are more homes selling right now than there were a couple months ago. The absorption rates are up, and it's like, so what are we paying attention to? Are we reacting to these little pieces that are being dropped into our lap from the media and people we think understand what's going on? Is it real? Should we be responding that strong? Like,
Well, what's real and what's not. I mean, we can do a whole podcast on that. I did see someone who I'm friends with on Facebook. Person's name escapes me at the moment. I don't necessarily think they're a ninja real estate person. But they're a real estate person. And he put in this post all of these negative headlines that have been about some sort of housing crash, price decline, inventory jump since 2015. All right. All these headlines, right? Even in 2021, oh, housing inventory hits pandemic high. We're seeing a turn in the housing market and all this. Like, headlines have been trying to drive the thought process of people. And this is my theory behind it. Because it was like, why isn't there more positive news then? If positivity makes people feel better, which it does. The thing is positivity doesn't necessarily need a solution. Negativity does. So if there's something negative in the news, we're going to keep watching the news to see if they can provide us with a solution for what's going to come next, which never does.
Thank goodness we just got the solution to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I mean, everybody was sitting on pins and needles over that thing.
So great that wasn't distracting us from anything else going on in the world. But so you have these things that draw you in. So then what happens if people still watch the media? Well, then they can sell more ads. Now, is that the entire business model? Yes, but there's more to it than that. And I know there's some positive news out there. My point with that is don't get sucked into that stuff. Because even when you push past the headlines, a lot of the time, the articles are just factual and they just have data in them that provides a perspective, which when you take that information and apply it to the direction you want to go, right? So you're looking at where you want to go on the track, but your low pressure warning comes on in your car. Oh, we got an issue here. Does that mean I'm going to immediately look at the trees and go, oh, we're going to end up in the trees? No, I'm going to go, okay, I still want to go that way. I'm going to have to feather off the gas a little bit, figure out what's going on here, make sure that I can make this turn without spinning out or whatever it might be. But you're still focused on where you want to go. You're not shifting your focus off course, which is what happens when you react. I'll add in, there's another layer to this too, which is just the temperature and energy of society in general, right? So outside of your business, how much positive news are you seeing there as well? Everything is designed to create stress, divide. I have my theories on this personally, but if you ignore that stuff and you actually go out and have normal conversations with people, you find that like all the stuff that you hear about isn't necessarily really that true, right? Like you go to a gas station, you have normal conversation with people. They're concerned about normal things and they're usually on board with all the same stuff that you like as well. We can all get along and have shared vision in the making that turn on the track versus having to look into the trees as well. I don't know if that ties in very well the way I strung that together, Garrett, but that's kind of some thoughts I have on that.
While you're going down these paths, one of the things that kept kind of coming to my mind was that between 2004 and 2014, give or take, we were one of those weird households that had no TV. We had no access to, we turned off all of our news sources. What sparked that was in 2004 when my two girls were being born that are now getting ready to leave house. We had a moment where we're like, what if we just didn't have the news involved in the raising of our children? What if we didn't have the news involved in our world while we were raising our kids? And we just basically like, we're fully in tune with them. We were fully in tune with the surroundings right around us and the information that was right around us. It's really actually important to us just leading our lives and working our lives. It's really interesting because if we look back through that time, there was a lot of peace involved with those 10 years. There was a lot of peace of mind that happened through those 10 years. Take the reactionary side completely out of it. Literally, there was nothing we could react in a strong way over other than this world that's right in front of us. The most reactionary we got was maybe my kid fell in the front yard and hit her head on the driveway. It was like, oh, we need to react to that right now. That's an immediate warning and freak out. But other than that, we weren't having these daily spikes of like, and rage and what do we got to do? And maybe we should do this. And there's a side of me that would love to go back to just turn all that stuff off. But Matt, when I want to share it, it's funny is because I had a lot of people I was coaching through that time and I would share that with them. And some of them were like, that's so awesome that you can do that. I had a lot of people that were like, how do you function? How do you know what's going on? How do you know how to behave and how to act in our society. And I'm like, holy,
How do you know how to behave?
seriously. Like there were people that were like really frustrated that I didn't have that as part of my world because I was out of touch and I couldn't make smart decisions. And I'm like, do you understand? Like, that's not how it works. You're going to be okay. And I would encourage more and more and more people to distance yourself a little bit from all these things. And let's just go back to real estate right now and jobs. And
I'm so happy we survived the 1800s when we didn't have television telling us how to behave. I mean, thank God our species survived, Garrett.
it's why we had carrier pigeons. Tell people what's going on here in the kingdom.
It's not like you didn't have access to a newspaper. Goodness.
In our world right now, we are bombarded. We are bombarded by information that's coming in so fast that the way that information enters our world, we can overwhelm ourselves on a daily basis about things that we don't have control over. We really don't have control over. So really at the end of the day, what do you have control over? And surround yourself with that stuff and things that we can directly today make an impact in. And there are some big issues that I think that if you do want to take them on and you want to take that information into your world and you're like, look, I'm going to let this in daily. I'm going to get on a bigger committee. I'm going to go run for office. I'm going to go do all these things. If you're going to take it in, make sure you can go do something about it. And we all can. But most of us listening to this podcast right now just get pissed off over it. We get lit up. We think the sky is falling, and you really don't have any control over it. You just need to be able to handle what's in front of you right now.
Not only are these things that we don't have control over, a lot of us don't want to have control over them. And thinking about the new issue or the old issue that always comes up each and every other month that we all get riled up about. And you're right. Like these are real issues, by the way. So if you're really passionate about it, why are you not involved in it more often than just when a news headline comes out that could be misleading about what's actually going on? Why not be always passionate about it, involved, going to meetings, running for office, as you said, being involved with the NAR, right? For a lot of people who talk about like, oh, what are they doing? Like, well, there's ways to be involved with that too. Now, I hear the other side of people, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. Okay, whatever. We can talk about that in another episode about time because you have time to follow the things that you're passionate about. This is where I go with it, Garrett, coming around to like, what do we do, right? How do we pull ourselves out of this reactionary society because it's consuming, it's around us. It's almost like it's designed to suck us back in every time we try to escape.
The news is really good that way. They have formulated an incredible platform that makes you go, I wonder what's going on.
Really does. Well, so one, I would say turn off the news. What was the quote that we had in our other podcast? 20 minutes a day of news increases your likelihood of having a bad day by some incredible measure, like 4 or 5x.
I forget the numbers on it. Yeah, some ridiculous amount.
There's something significant where it's like, ooh, just 20 minutes. So for those of you that have it on in the background, and even the business channels, right? Be wary, because I know that there's some of you that in the background of your office, you got CNBC on because you want to see what's going on with the scroller and the ticker and all that stuff. That's not just pure straight business news all the time, by the way, particularly right now. I mean, as we're doing it this week, everyone's like, oh my goodness, the stock market is doubling. It's crashing so hard, still higher than it was back in 2019.
So 2004 to 2014, when I would start my computer, when it would start up, my main home screen, when I'd hit my search engine to start doing business and connecting with the world, was the comedy channels is what I had. I had stand-up comedy that would come on. It was awesome. Start my day laughing and I'd be like, all right, moving along.
So there you go. There's step one. Replace the news with something positive, gratitude, affirmations, and believe in your direction, Garrett. I think this is the biggest thing that I want people to take away is don't let the world and society take your belief system away. Because that's what I see a lot of people happen is people will say, oh, this is going to happen. I guess I'm never going to hit that goal or do this. Like, stop that. Like, if we believe, if we know this works, right? And a lot of people listening, quote, know this works. You went to the installation. You're like, yes, this mindset stuff is powerful. I saw the washer move when I just thought I didn't even do anything. You've read the Joe Dispenza book. So you know this works. So why are you giving in to an external force to pull your belief system away from knowing that you're going to create this life that you love, that you want, that's going to be incredible, into, I guess I just have to accept the fact that life sucks, and you don't.
And to go along those lines, Matt, what you need to focus on right now is that people need your help. Like, your business is about helping other people. It's not about doing more real estate transactions. It's not about, oh, I need to sell a certain amount of homes. Yes, you can focus on that if you want to, but a lot of the people that I'm watching that are freaking out about this right now, they're losing sight of what their job is. Their job is not to sell more homes. Their job is to help people move from one house to the other. This is what our world is. This is why I love, and this is why we brought up front, is like, how bad does the world have to get before all these things that cause real estate to happen stop? They don't. So if we know those aren't going to stop, your number one job is to say, okay, with this given situation that I have in front of me right now, interest rates are higher than we've seen in a long time. All of these pieces, inventory is starting to grow. How can I help people be successful? What are the tools that are in front of me that's going to help these people have the biggest and best results that they can have? And what we know is that in these marketplaces of uncertainty, and when things are off a little bit, these are the marketplaces where people turn to their friends, they turn to their loved ones to say, I need to sell my home. What do I do? I need to get a loan. What do I do? Who do I talk to? And they go, oh my gosh, I've got somebody that you need to speak to. I've got a friend that can help you with this. I have a trusted person that handles all of my real estate for me. I want to get you connected. Referrals go way up during these times. My business doesn't go up because I'm just asking more people if they need to buy or sell. It goes up because you're a trusted person in a time of need, and a time where they need a professional. This is an amazing time we're coming into right now. Every marketplace that I've ever coached people in, when it gets off and it gets weird, 2008, I referred to it as the culling of the herd. It literally culled out a huge part of our population of realtors, and it was a good thing. The true professionals, they were left at the end having the best years they've ever had. I foresee that we might be into this world right now, coming into another one. And this is your opportunity to be a professional, is what it is. If you're concerned about the future, take a look at yourself and say, do I add value into my clients? Do I have something that's going to help them navigate through this marketplace? If you don't understand how to navigate through this marketplace and how to help people be successful when they need to buy or sell, yes, be scared. If you can figure it out, and by the way, it is not people need to buy or sell. You can figure it out, Matt. This is a very rewarding marketplace we're heading into right now. You're going to be needed more than anything you've ever seen before.
Closings happen every single day. If the market tanks for some reason, closings will still happen. If you believe that and know that, and here's the data to prove it: 2008, 4.1 million homes sold. 2009, 4.3, 2010, 4.2, 2011, 4.2. So still over 4 million existing home sales through the, oh my goodness, it's horrible. Now, granted, in 2005, over 7 million homes sold. So there was a drop off, but still, there's still plenty of homes sold. Just like when we talked about in the gap year episode earlier this year, I am more convinced than ever that the second half of this year is going to be a difference maker, as you said, Garrett, from the people who are pros and the people who are not. And if you stick to your systems, which is probably our next podcast here, you can start to put a gap between you and the competition by the end of this year, so that if home sales do go down, like Redfin seems to think will happen, then you'll be fine, because there's still millions of homes that will sell and trade, and you can probably handle more than you were before because you're going to be the professional. So believe that.
There's going to be a lot of people out there doing a lot less business, and the professionals will be picking up the business that is there. Like, I get it. That's the reason there's the culling of the herd. And a lot of these people have to leave because they're like, I can't figure out how to make the business work in this marketplace. Well, you're not bothering to figure out the marketplace. People need your help. I'm excited about this time, Matt. As we start to go back to where we started this, is that be careful how reactionary you're being. Look at the facts, look at all the information around you, be careful of the news, be careful of even the message in your office. The people you're surrounding yourself in your own personal office, be very cautious.
Be cautious of your own language that you use on a daily basis. Little things can make a huge difference in your belief system.
And as we used the racetrack analogy earlier, like you can easily follow people right off the track. It happens all the time. I watch it happen in real estate all the time. We watched it happen like right at the beginning of COVID. We watched people that thrived, their businesses just took off because they realized people still need my help right now. I need to be in their world. And there's others that just drove right off the track. And they had a whole bunch of people in their office going, oh my gosh, they're driving off the track. I should follow them. We've already watched this happen in the very recent past.
Yeah. Yeah. So we believe in everybody. We believe in you.
I believe in you, Matt.
I know I get passionate about these things just because I know that we have it within us to just be better. So I appreciate everybody for listening to me rant a little bit there in the middle. Thank you, Garrett, for giving me the space to do that.
We had soapbox moments in this episode. I feel like there was times that we just like, I kind of went blank and just like, I don't know, all of a sudden I came back and I was still talking.
I don't know what happened. I blacked out. I love it.
All right. So Matt, I love this topic. I love that we sat on it for a while because when Matt and I were talking about it about a month ago, Matt got so mad that I was like, we can't do this one right now. We're going to need to come back to this one.
Yeah, it's probably good that we let it cool off.
Yeah, just a little bit. But so again, I appreciate everybody who's tuned in for this episode. Matt and I love doing this so much. And I appreciate the feedback we get from people. I appreciate the warm sentiment that people send our direction about what the podcast means to them and how it's introduced them to Ninja and it's how it's got them onto a different path with their business. And I just want to say thank you to all of you because those words mean a lot. Matt and I do this really very much because we enjoy it and we want to keep doing it. And that's the stuff that makes us want to come back over and over. So we have more great episodes coming up. We have lots of great topics that we're going to be working on here as we go through the middle of this year, as we're heading now towards 2023. And go check out the podcast community. We have that on Facebook. You can check out Ninja Selling at ninjaselling.com. And that's where you can find all upcoming installations and other offerings that we have there. And coaching. If you didn't know it, we have a coaching program that Matt and I are strongly embedded into. We've got 26 coaches that are experts in Ninja. And go check that out too. We got some really cool people that are here to help you with your business. So with that being said, Matt, thank you. Thank you, everybody out there. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, everyone. Have an amazing day.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.